Ladies and gentlemen, let's play a little game. Imagine you've maxed out all your credit cards. You're dodging calls from debt collectors. You're eating ramen noodles for dinner, and not the good kind. And then, in a moment of, well, let's call it inspiration, you decide the only logical solution is to finance a brand new Lamborghini. You can't afford the gas. You can't afford the insurance. But damn, you look good sitting in the driveway, which, by the way, the bank is also repossessing. Congratulations, you have just successfully simulated the modern experience of being a Barcelona fan. Welcome to the most agonizing, confusing, and financially baffling soap opera in sports. Being a Culer used to be about make un club, more than a club. It was about philosophy, about the sacred grass of the Camp Nou, about a production line of generational geniuses from La Masia. Now, it's about spreadsheets. It's about amortization. It's about shareholder meetings. You, the fan, have been forced to learn more about Spanish financial fair play regulations than the club's actual accountants seem to know. This isn't a football club anymore. It's a high-level creative accounting seminar that's perpetually on the verge of being audited by the IRS, the EU, and probably Batman. The worst part isn't even the debt. It's the cognitive dissonance. It's watching your club president, Joan Laporta, stand at a podium and announce with a straight face, "We are 1.35 billion euros in debt," and then, in the very next breath, announce the signing of a 50 million euro player. It's having to listen to your Real Madrid supporting friend, whose club is run with the boring efficiency of a German car factory, ask you, "Wait, how can you do that?" And you have to just sit there, your eye twitching, and mumble something about economic levers while you quietly die inside. This is why it sucks. The glory is a memory, and all that's left is the bill. 1. The Bartomeu hangover, how to speedrun a dynasty into the ground. You ever wake up after a truly legendary night out, check your bank account and just flinch? That cold, sharp, adrenaline-fueled spike of regret as you see a receipt from Club Oblivion for 800? That's what Barca fans feel every single time they're forced to remember the presidency of Josep Maria Bartomeu. Except the receipt isn't for 800, it's for 1.35 billion euros. You see, Bartomeu didn't just spend money, he set pallets of it on fire in the town square as a warning to fiscal responsibility. This was the era of, we just got 222 million for Neymar, let's spend it all on 3 players who are worse. Let's do a quick rundown of the greatest hits. Philippe Coutinho, signed for over 140 million euros. He spent most of his time looking confused, got loaned out, and then scored against Barca in the infamous 8-2 humiliation by Bayern Munich. Ousmane Dembélé, 135 million plus. A man who possessed world-class talent and the ligaments of a wet paper towel. He spent 6 years alternating between the hospital and playing video games before leaving for a fraction of the price. And Antoine Griezmann, 120 million. A world-class striker they decided to use as a left-wing back because reasons. This wasn't just bad scouting. This was financial malpractice set to music. The wage bill ballooned to a point where it was larger than the revenue of most countries. They were paying players 400k a week to sit on the bench. They were renewing contracts for aging legends with loyalty bonuses that would make a Saudi prince blush. And the grand finale, the piece de resistance, they mismanaged the finances so catastrophically that they literally, legally could not afford to re-sign the greatest player in the history of football. They let Lionel Messi leave for free. It's like owning the Mona Lisa and trading it for a coupon for a free appetizer. Bartomeu didn't just leave the club, he left a smoking crater where the club used to be. He wasn't a president, he was a natural disaster in a nice suit. 2. The magic levers, selling the family silver to buy a pack of gum. So, you're broke. The bank has cut you off. The credit cards are scissors, the house is in foreclosure. What's the logical next step? If you're a normal person, you cut back. You sell the car. You stop ordering takeout. If you're Barcelona president Joan Laporta, you run to the living room, rip the 70-inch TV off the wall, and sell it to a pawn shop for $50. Then you use that $50 to put a down payment on a new 80-inch TV. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the palanca strategy, the economic levers. It's the single greatest piece of branding since conscious uncoupling. Laporta, the returning saviour, realised the club had no cash, but it had assets, like future TV revenue, and its own media production house, and the very concept of its future existence. So, he started selling them. This is not a joke. They sold 25% of their domestic La Liga TV rights for the next 25 years to a company called 6th Street. They sold off nearly half of Barca Studios, the club's media arm, to a crypto website and a Socios fan token company, who then, reportedly, missed their payments. In simple terms, Barcelona took out a payday loan from the future. They are spending tomorrow's money today, all on the desperate gamble that signing Robert Lewandowski and Rafinha will somehow lead to so much Champions League prize money that it'll cover the black hole of debt. Spoiler, it hasn't. After all that financial manoeuvring, they won La Liga, which is great, but then they immediately got bounced out of the Champions League group stage twice, and then got pantsed in the quarterfinals. The money they made was a drop in the ocean compared to the money they'd already spent. The levers weren't a solution. They were an adrenaline shot for a corpse. It gave fans a brief, thrilling high. We're signing players, we're back, followed by the crushing, inevitable low. Oh God, we're still broke, and now we don't even own our own TV money for 2 decades. 3. The most humiliating button on Football Manager. Imagine this. You just spent all week negotiating the perfect deal. You found a brand new, top-of-the-line 8K TV on clearance. You sweet-talked the salesperson, you got free delivery, you even got them to throw in a soundbar. It arrives, you unbox it. It's beautiful. You plug it into the wall and nothing. You get an error message on the screen. Error. Your household electricity budget for this quarter has been exceeded. This device will remain in standby mode until you sell your refrigerator. This is the agonising, uniquely modern hell of being a Barcelona fan every single transfer window. It's called player registration. In any normal, functioning league, when a club buys a player, they, play for that club. At Barcelona, signing a player is only step 1 of a terrifying 12-step programme. Step 2 is the real boss battle, begging the La Liga computers, run by your nemesis Javier Tebas, to please, sir, may I have another footballer? You see, La Liga's financial fair play isn't a suggestion. It's a brick wall. It's not a fine you pay later. It's a bouncer at the door who checks your bank account before he lets your new €50 million striker into the club. The last few summers for Barca fans have been pure, unadulterated administrative agony. We all had to watch the Jules Koundé saga, where he signed, trained, and then just sat in the stands for 3 weeks, looking like a competition winner who wasn't allowed on the pitch. Andreas Christensen and Franck Kessié arrived on free transfers, only for us to discover there was a clause that said if the club couldn't register them by a certain date, they could just leave. Also for free. It has turned the entire fan base into amateur accountants. You're not watching highlight reels of a new signing anymore. You're frantically refreshing spreadsheets, trying to figure out if selling Memphis Depay to Atletico for bus tokens will free up just enough salary mass to register the backup left back. You're not celebrating a goal, you're celebrating the departure of a B-team player because it lowers the wage bill. It is the most profoundly unglamorous part of football, and it is now 90% of the Barcelona fan experience. You've become a fan of the balance sheet, a supporter of amortization, a die-hard loyalist to the concept of financial viability. What a thrill. 4. The La Masia paradox. Running your child prodigies into the ground. You know that feeling when your phone is on 2% battery, you've got a 3-hour bus ride home, you forgot your charger, and your only hope is to dim the screen, turn off Wi-Fi, close every app, and just pray to the silicon gods that it doesn't die before you get to your stop. That is Barcelona's current relationship with its youth academy. For decades, La Masia was the club's greatest strength. It was a philosophy. It produced Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol, Piqué, Busquets. It was a conveyor belt of geniuses who understood the system. And here's the crazy part. It's still working. The academy is churning out absolute gems. Gavi, Pedri, though technically signed young, not a pure Masia grad, but same vibe, Alejandro Balde, Pau Kubasi. And now, the boy wonder himself, Lamine Yamal, who looks like he could nutmeg a ghost in a phone booth. The talent is there. The problem? The first team is a financial wasteland. Thanks to the Bartomeu regime and the Levernomics, the senior squad is a bizarre collection of aging high-wage stars Lewandowski, panic-bought lever signings Rafinha, and that's kind of it. So these kids aren't being eased in. They're not getting 20 minutes here and there. They're being thrown into the engine room and told, "You are the engine." Pedri, in his first season, was forced to play 73 games for club and country. 73. He was 18 years old. His hamstrings have been screaming for mercy ever since. Xavi played every single match with the reckless abandon of a rabid Wolverine until his knee inevitably exploded on international duty. Now, the entire creative burden of a €1.35 billion club is being placed squarely on the shoulders of Lamine Yamal, a kid who, by law, should probably be more worried about his physics homework than breaking down Real Madrid's low block. La Masia used to be a pipeline, now it's a child sacrifice pit. These kids are being used to plug the holes in a sinking ship, and they are being run into the ground before they even turn 21. You're not just a fan, you're a worried parent watching your kid being forced to work 80-hour weeks at the family business just to keep the lights on. It's inspiring and also deeply, deeply illegal feeling. 5. The DNA delusion and the Xavi-coaster. There's a special kind of comfort in nostalgia. It's like a warm blanket. You remember the good old days, the tiki-taka, Guardiola on the touchline in a crisp suit, Xavi and Iniesta spinning on a dime, completing 800 passes before breakfast. It was possession, it was philosophy, it was Barca DNA, and then you had to watch the Xavi Hernandez managerial experience, which was like finding your old warm blanket, only to realise it's damp, smells a bit weird, and is full of moths. When Xavi, the high priest of the DNA, was hired, it was meant to be a return to the promised land. He got it. He was going to fix it, and for a minute it seemed like he might. They won La Liga, mostly by grinding out the ugliest, most un-Barca 1-0 wins you've ever seen. It was like watching the 04 Greece team win the Euros, but everyone pretended it was Brazil 70 because DNA, but then the Champions League, where the philosophy went to die repeatedly. Getting dumped into the Europa League wasn't just a failure, it was an identity crisis. This is Barcelona. They don't play on Thursdays, and the excuses. Oh, the beautiful poetic excuses. The sun was too bright, the grass was too long, the grass was too dry, the other team was unfair. It was a weekly masterclass in avoiding responsibility. But the real suffering, the part that truly broke your brain, was the soap opera of his employment. In January 2024, after a bad loss, Xavi announces he's quitting at the end of the season. He's tired, he's stressed. The job is cruel. The fans are heartbroken but understanding. Then the team goes on a little unbeaten run. Suddenly Laporta stages a bizarre press conference, complete with hugs and tears announcing Xavi has changed his mind. He's staying. He believes in the project. The DNA is back. For 1 month. 1 month later, after Xavi dared to suggest in a press conference that, hey, maybe the club that's €1.35 billion in debt can't compete with Real Madrid's spending, Laporta fired him. Immediately, he was sacked for telling the literal objective truth. This is the cycle of pain you live in. You're not just a fan, you're a supporting character in a telenovela written by a lunatic. You're asked to trust the process, but the process is being rewritten every 48 hours based on the president's mood. 6. My rival's house party. This is the one that really hurts. This is the salt, lemon and habanero rubbed directly into the open weeping wound of your financial misery. This is having to watch Real Madrid. Imagine you're the guy who had to sell his house, his car and his TV just to pay off his credit card debt. And you have to do all of it while staring out your tiny apartment window directly at your neighbour's mansion. And your neighbour, the one you've hated since childhood, is currently hosting a party in his brand new retractable roof stadium that looks like the Death Star. And at that party are Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., and just for fun, Kylian Mbappé. This is the existential torture of being a Culer right now, while you are desperately trying to figure out if you can afford the €30 million release clause for a mid-table midfielder from Girona. Real Madrid are just casually collecting generational talents like their Pokemon cards. They operate with the cold, silent, terrifying efficiency of a shark. They don't have levers. They have a functioning business model. While you're playing your home games in a rented, windswept Olympic stadium with bad sightlines and zero atmosphere, they are unveiling a €1 billion state-of-the-art cathedral to football that will print money for them for the next 50 years. While your club president is selling off 25% of your future income to buy a 35-year-old Lewandowski, their president, Florentino Perez, just sits back, sips his espresso, and signs the best player in the world for free. Every single one of their successes is a direct personal insult to your suffering. You have to watch them win the Champions League, the trophy you need to get out of debt, while you're crashing out of the group stage because your squad is 70% teenagers and 30% vibes. They're everything you used to be. Smart, rich, powerful and inevitable, and you are everything you used to mock. Chaotic, desperate, broke, and clinging to the memories of a past that gets further away every single day. So yeah, you're a fan of a balance sheet. You're a supporter of a construction project. You're a loyalist to a brand of football that only exists in YouTube compilations. Why do you do it? Because Maquillan Club used to mean something. Now it just means more debt than a club.